Hello my dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I have another book talk video to share with you guys. Today's book talk's a little different than normal. I'm going to start off with a book I just finished and really enjoyed, as per usual. And then I'm going to move into the book that I've chosen to be the first ever selection for the, Pages and Polish book club that we're going to try doing here on my channel. So I'm very excited to share that with you guys. I'm going to be announcing it in this video, obviously, and then we'll have all of February to read it. I'll be putting up my book talk on the book the last Friday in February. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but I will put it down in the description below. If you have a channel of your own and you'd like to also film and put up a video, that'd be super cool. If not, we can just discuss it in the comments down below for anyone who doesn't have a channel or just wants to read along. Alright, so let's get into the book I want to talk about. And today we're talking about The Courage to be Disliked. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the two authors' names because I don't want to butcher them. Anyway, I picked this book up on kind of a whim, mainly because of the title. I loved that title. It's the kind of title that hits you right deep somewhere. I don't know where, but it hits you. The book is based on the teachings of psychologist, philosopher Alfred Adler. He was a contemporary of people like Freud and Jung in the 19th century. This book is filled with so many fantastic lessons. And, at this point in my life, I'm 37 years old. What people think about me or feel about me is not of much importance, especially compared to when I was very young, like say in my early 20s. I cared much more about that. And I guess that's just, that's just what happens as you age. The older you get, the more you realize what's important and what's true. It's kind of like that quote that I've always loved that says, what someone thinks of you is none of your business, or something like that. Keeps in line with that. So anyway, I was excited to read this. I know that this book is, or has been for quite a while, very popular in Japan, and it's recently been translated into English. My one complaint about this book is kind of the way that it's written. It's written like a conversation between a brash young man and his philosophical master. So it goes back and forth in kind of a question and answer format, which is fine, but it's not my favorite way to read something. I prefer to read it just presented as text. I can see how this format might be more easily digestible for some people. And that's the great thing with books like this that become so popular, is it makes sort of more complex ideas accessible to the average everyday person. And that's great, that's really helpful. It's also kind of a Adler for beginners, if you will, kind of speaking to the common person. So if you're someone who's deep into psychology or philosophy, this book might not be for you. It might not, it might be too dumbed down for you. And I don't mean dumbed down in a bad way, I mean it in a good way, but you know what I mean. So despite not loving the way the information is presented, I absolutely loved the messages in this book. One of the biggest lessons in this book, and takeaways for me at least, is remembering that your past in no way defines your future. So often we hang on to things, whether because of things that happened to us or our lot in life, we hang on to ideas from that and then we carry it forward. And it's like a weight on our shoulders that we allow to stop us from doing or being the things that we want to do and be. It talks about happiness as a choice and not something you have to be denied because of X, Y, or Z. And I love that notion, that because it gives you the freedom. You have the freedom. And I love that. It makes you feel like you have more control. And of course, that can be scary for some people, that notion, because sometimes it's a lot easier to lean back on our traumas and the terrible things that have happened to us. Because the things that happen, you know, they are traumatic and they are horrible, but you're not shackled to them for the rest of your life. And it's easy to forget that. And I love looking at that as a choice to let it go. And the book here, the introduction starts like this. The young student says, "I want to ask you once again, you do believe that the world is in all ways a simple place?" And the philosopher says, "Yes, this world is astonishingly simple, and life itself is too." And there's just something freeing about that notion to me. I really love it. Then when you move in a little further, the first chapter, which is called The First Night, because it's laid out in sort of a series of evenings. The first night is deny trauma. And a lot of people hear that and they get really defensive and scared by those two words alone, as though it's somehow victim blaming or minimizing. But really, the way it's laid out in this book, and the way that it, to me, is so freeing to think of, is that if you can choose to move beyond it, you're free. And that's hard. That's so hard, because, but yet so simple, right? You know, and we've all had, I mean, of course, we've all had varying degrees of trauma in our lives. Not all trauma is created equally. Some people have been through some very dark, deep things. And you know, especially as a child, those traumas from when we're little, we seem to hold on so much and allow them to define us so much. So I think I think anyone could benefit from reading this. It's new ways to look at how you can be happy, and who doesn't want to be happier? And, you know, some people didn't like it. I was sort of skimming through some reviews before I filmed this video. Some people didn't like it. And the thing that trips them up is the whole deny trauma bit. But if you sit with it and really think about it and let the ideas really seep in, I think you'll understand a bit more. I think maybe some of the people who are so up in arms about that deny trauma is that maybe they haven't read it yet. I don't know. But I really recommend this book. It goes on to other lessons, of course. It's not just deny trauma. It talks about how all problems are relationship problems. It talks about how a competitive mindset can ruin your mental health. There's just a lot of really good topics in there and lessons to be learned. So I would definitely recommend it. I don't usually do nonfiction here for my book talks, but this one I really enjoyed it, and I think so many people, everyone, could find something in there to take away from positively. Okay, all right, you guys, let's move on now to the first book club selection book. I wanted to pick a book that was fairly newly released, that could probably be found in most places for most people. I got my copy at Walmart, so you can probably find it at Walmart. Somebody asked about Costco. Denise, I think it was you. I don't know. I don't live near a Costco, but you could probably find it there if they have new releases. This is sort of a popular one. And this is The Clockmakers Daughter by Kate Morton. I'm going to, first of all, look how lovely she is in that back cover. So beautiful. Okay. I'm going to read to you the blurb on the jacket, and then you can decide if you want to join us on this journey of book clubbing. My real name, no one remembers. The truth about that summer, no one else knows. In the summer of 1862, a group of young artists, led by the charismatic and talented Edward Radcliffe, descends upon Birchwood Manor on the banks of the Upper Thames. Their plan? To spend a secluded summer month in a haze of inspiration and creativity. But by the time their stay is over, one woman has been shot dead, while another has disappeared. The priceless heirloom is missing, and Edward Radcliffe's life is in ruins. More than 150 years later, Elodie Winslow, a young archivist in London, uncovers a leather satchel containing two seemingly unrelated items: a sepia photograph of a beautiful woman in Victorian clothing, and an artist's sketchbook containing the drawing of a twin-gabled house on the bend of a river. Why does Birchwood Manor feel so familiar to Elodie? And who is the mysterious, unidentified woman in the photograph? As Elodie pursues these clues, the lives of the many people who have passed through the house are revealed. There's Radcliffe, whose love affair with his model and muse consumes him, his sister Lucy, who opens a school for young ladies, Leonard Gilbert, a soldier and scholar who retreats to Birchwood after World War I to heal and write a biography of Radcliffe, Juliet, a young widow who takes refuge there with her 3 small children during the Blitz, and in the present day, Jack Rowlands, who has come from far away to search for lost treasure and who meets Elodie when she eventually arrives at the house. Intricately layered and told by multiple voices across time, this is a kaleidoscopic story of murder, mystery, and thievery, of art, love, and loss. And flowing through its pages like a river is the voice of a woman who stands outside time, whose name has been forgotten by history, but who has watched it all unfold. Bertie Bell, the Clockmaker's Daughter. So there you go, you guys. It's getting pretty good reviews so far. That cover is beautiful. I love, you know, I love a good historic fiction, and I'm really excited to read this one. So let me know in the comments down below, are you going to be reading along with us? I certainly hope that you are. Anyway, you guys, that's going to do it for me for today. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.